Good morning and welcome to Fast Horses Today. Today is Saturday. It is November 2nd and it is the Breeders' Cup Saturday card that we're going to be going over at Del Mar where the turf meets the surf. Now I've got two pick fives that I want to play today. The first pick five starts in the fourth race. And the next pick five, it'll go races 4 through 8. And then the late pick five goes 8 through 12. So we've got the overlap of the Breeders' Cup Classic. So the fourth race today starts at approximately 2 o'clock here Central Time. So that's about noon there in the Pacific Time Zone. And let's get started. We've got a couple hours before this fourth race and the Breeders' Cup card really kicks off. So the fourth race is the Breeders' Cup Filly and Mare Turf Sprint at 7 furlongs. Certainly a really, really talented bunch, which we do expect. A lot of speed out there, some closers, should make for a nice race. I've got 3 horses that I'm going to put in here to get this pick 5 started. I'm going to go with the 6 horse, who is Society, for Steve Asmussen and Tyler Gaffalione. Now, this horse has certainly, knocked heads with some of the best sprint fillies out there and really done a great job with it. So, I kind of see maybe this horse will go to the lead from the 6 hole, 7 furlongs, and, certainly has done that before. And maybe, we'll see if this horse can take the distance. There are some speed horses on the inside of her, so we'll see how good she is. And, we'll give her a shot here at 3-1. I've also got the 9 horse, who is Ways and Means, for Chad Brown and Flavian Pratt. And it looks like Pratt's got some live ones today. Now this horse, Pratt has ridden her the last 3 times, last 3 victories. And, she's really moved up the ladder over there in New York. She won an allowance race, nice allowance race there. Then her last 2 wins were in graded stakes. She had won the grade 1 test on a muddy track and then ended up winning the Gallant Bloom grade 2 over there at Aqueduct and a sloppy track. So we don't expect any slop or rain or anything like that at Del Mar today, but this girl has certainly shown a propensity to be able to do it on different distances, different types of tracks, and she just has talent. She's 5-2 for Chad Brown and Clairvich Stables, and how many times have we seen those 2 pair up for big victories? Then finally I'm going to put the 10, who is Scylla. Scylla is out of just a wonderful race mare, and she's also bred some nice horses. That's Close Hatches and is by Tappet. So we've certainly seen the family of this horse do well, Scylla being one of them. Bill Mott trains. Mike Smith takes the call. Now here's why I think Scylla is going to run a big race today. First of all, I like the 10-hole post. I think that she'll just be able to see everything in front of her, and I think maybe make a nice stalking type of trip. So she's gotten a run over the Del Mar track. She came over this past summer, ran in the Clement Hirsch, which is a 1:16 race. She ended up getting a good feel of that track, ended up going for the lead, getting beat by Adair Manor. But I think that was a nice, practice race over the surface. Got familiar with the sea air, showed a nice ability. They shortened her up to 7 furlongs. She ran in the Ballerina over at Saratoga, and she ended up coming second to Society. But I give her a pass on this one. She had gone from Del Mar, running at Del Mar early in August, to going over to Saratoga in late August. And that's not easy for a horse to go coast to coast and run within a couple weeks. And I thought she really made a good account of herself. Just going on breeding alone, this, certainly has a lot of ability. Her siblings have had a lot of ability. She certainly has a lot of ability. So I think she'll run a nice race. That's the 10, Scylla. I've got the 6, 9, and 10 here in this race. All right, now let's move over to the next race. Next race is the 5th race of the day. This is the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint at 5 furlongs on the grass. And this will be a really exciting race because, this is, as we've seen, we saw yesterday, some, nice finish in the Turf Sprint there yesterday. You got to have, some nice position. If you could clear the field, maybe you could win, but if you got to work too hard for it, you never know when the stretch comes. So I really think, I'm going to put 5 horses in this race because, you just don't know. Like, a horse like Cogburn, is super fast, should get the lead, should clear the race. But, let's say he just breaks a step slow or something or gets bumped or whatever. There's a ton of speed. Now you're talking about this being a toss-up. So I've got 5 horses, and I'll tell you the 5 horses and kind of why here. So I've got the 1 horse who is Believing. This horse comes from Europe, Ryan Moore. Now this horse has knocked heads with some of the better turf sprinters there in Europe, like Brad Sell, Big Evs, Starlust, who we'll talk about momentarily. I like the 1 hole. Ryan Moore I'm sure knows what to do on a race like this is just stay inside, keep your position, and explode in the stretch. As we see a lot of these Euro turf horses do, they just explode in the stretch. It's breathtaking, you know. So I've got the 1 horse who is Believing. I'm also going to put the 4 horse who is Starlust. Starlust also comes from Europe, running in some of the bigger turf sprints there. Ryan Moore gets the call here. Now, this horse has knocked heads with Bradsoe, with Big Evs, with Believing, and been there with them. So, you know, this is just a matter of, this horse is 30 to 1. I don't think we'll see 30 to 1, but just a matter of, you know, not Ryan Moore, but Ryan is on the horse here. I'm not exactly sure. I'm not as familiar with Ryan, the jock, but Ryan has certainly ridden this horse before, so he knows the horse. But, you know, this horse is just a matter of getting position, exploding in the stretch. So that's the 4, Starlust. I'm also going to put the 9 horse being Cogburn. Cogburn, for Steve Asmussen, this is the American, you know, best American turf sprinter. This horse just has blazing speed. He's run at different tracks, different distances. He just gets out and goes. And as we've seen at Del Mar, that's certainly a great recipe for success on these 5 furlong grass races. He's 7 to 5, so no secret there. We're going to see, is Cogburn going to be able to get the lead and just go on and go? So I'm going to put that horse in there. I'm also going to put the 11, who is Big Evs. Big Evs, you know, another Euro. Marquardt has the call on this horse. Now, Marquardt has been riding this horse. Now, this horse, you know, certainly did get a taste of American racing. Ended up running in the Breeders' Cup juvenile sprint last year over at Santa Anita. And so, you know, he got his taste of American racing, running on a tight track, tight turn. And this horse ended up winning that race at Santa Anita at 5 furlongs. So, you know, he finished off the season with that win. Ended up running this year in some nice turf sprints as well in Europe, and showing a lot of ability, as I mentioned, knocking heads with Bradsoe, with Believing, with a Starlust. So Big Evs, 12 to 1. Why not put that in there? And then also we're going to put in the 12 horse, Bradsoe. Holly Doyle on the horse. So Holly Doyle looking to be one of, you know, a few women who have ridden Breeders' Cup winners. So Holly Doyle certainly knows this horse. She's won some grade ones over in Europe, you know, and, you know, different countries, different distances. This horse, you know, grade 1 winner, multiple grade 1 winner. And, you know, she's beaten Believing. She's beaten Starlust. You know, he's very talented, and 7 to 2. So, you know, it's the kind of thing where if, you know, Cogburn maybe doesn't break or something, maybe Bradsoe goes. But we're going to see what Holly Doyle does with Bradsoe. So I've got the 1, 4, 9, 11, and 12. Now let's go to the next race of the day. Next race of the day being the 6th race, and this is the Breeders' Cup Distaff. I've got a single here. There's some scratches here in this race that I really feel like, you know, really just made the race much easier. I'm going to single Torpedo Anna. I think she'll be a big favorite here, of course. We've got some scratches here. We've got a scratch of the 3 horse. We got a scratch of the 8 horse, Miss New York. And then a big scratch in the 9 horse, the horse Awesome Result from Japan. So I have this horse race scratches down to a smaller field. You know, no reason to go against Torpedo Anna. She looks wonderful. And also, you know, they're giving her pounds. So, you know, she's facing some elders, which shouldn't be a problem because she's a big beast of a horse, and you know, she's getting a weight break. So 4 to 5, we're going to go with Torpedo Anna, see what she does there, and move on. Hope for long shots in the other parts of the pick 5. All right, let's go to the next race of the day. Next race is the 7th race. That's the Breeders' Cup Turf, 1.5 miles, and this on the grass. So, you know, this is the kind of field where I'm just kind of wondering, where are the big monster grass horses from Europe? It didn't seem like they signed on this year. So, you know, I think it leaves the field kind of wide open. I'm going to put 5 horses here. I'm going to put the 2, Emily Upjohn. John Gosden brings in a horse. Now, Gosden certainly knows how to win in California. He's done it over the decades. There was a time when Gosden was a regular trainer in California back in the 80s and early 90s. Dettori takes the call. You know, we know Dettori knows what he's doing. So Emily Upjohn, 5 to 1. We'll put her in there. Going to also put the 3 horse, who is Sharar. This horse comes from Japan, has shown some nice races, 10 to 1. You know, this horse got a taste of American racing last year, running 3rd in the Breeders' Cup Turf over at Santa Anita. So, I'm sorry, ran 3rd, and ran a nice 3rd at that. So, you know, certainly can show something here at 10 to 1. Going to put the 4 horse Luxembourg for Aidan O'Brien. You know, we see Aidan O'Brien, you know, always comes loaded for bear. This horse is 12 to 1. Ryan Moore on this horse. And, you know, this horse, shows a bit of a spotty record, has won a grade 1 this year, but then also, has kind of run up the track. But, you want to leave Aidan O'Brien off at your own risk, do so. But I'm not going to do that today. So I'm going to put the 4, Luxembourg. I'm going to put the 5 horse, who is Jai Arabi. And this horse comes from France. This horse has a jock named Levy on the horse. Now, I'm not familiar with Levy. I can't say that I am, but I see Levy has been riding this horse and riding this horse well. So, going to, use that European form. This horse has run with some nice horses over there in Europe, like Economics, came second to Economics. Economics went on to win his next race. And this horse 4-1, so no secret there. I'm going to also put the 11 horse, who is the program favorite. The 11 being Rebels Romance for Charlie Appleby and Godolphin. Again, like the Coolmore folks, Godolphin shows up loaded for bear as well. This horse is 5-2. William Buick. Now, this horse is truly a world traveler. This horse has won all around the world, which you don't really see horses winning like that around the world. They usually win in a region, and go from there. But this horse won in Germany, won in England, has won in the Middle East. So certainly has run here in the States, had some trouble in his races here in the States. We'll forgive those, but this horse is 5-2, so we'll put this horse in there. And then finally, in the 8th race, we're going to move over to the 8th race. That's the last of this pick 4, and it'll be the start of the late pick 4, so there'll be an overlap there. So the 8th race being the Breeders' Cup Classic. Yep, the Breeders' Cup Classic being run as the 8th race, somewhat in the middle of the card. I think that's probably done for TV purposes or something, so you'd have to ask the Breeders' Cup on how they make those decisions. But the Breeders' Cup Classic being the 8th race, 1.25 miles on the dirt. I've got 5 horses here. I'm going to put the 1 horse, Forever Young, Japanese horse. But we saw this horse run outstanding in the Kentucky Derby. Probably should have won the race. Ended up getting, interfered with, and probably cost him a win. But that horse had a nice long break after the Derby. Ended up running one time over there in Japan in a prep race. But, we've seen this horse here in the States run very well. This horse has run very well around the world. 8-1, definitely a factor. Going to put the 3 horse in, City of Troy, Aidan O'Brien. Now, this horse has not run on the dirt, but, who am I to tell Aidan O'Brien that he can't get it done? So, City of Troy, they feel like this horse can run on dirt, and, he's 5-2. Going to put this horse in there. Going to also put the 7 horse being Ushba Tesoro, another Japanese horse. This horse, had been running around the world as well and running some nice races. Ended up running in the Classic last year at Santa Anita, and I thought ran a nice race. Was bet on that day. Was about 3-1 that day, and I thought ran a nice race on a track that wasn't really bringing in closers, and he kind of overcame a bias to run a nice even race, and has run well since then. Horse is 12-1, and we'll see if one of these Japanese horses gets it done. Going to also put the 9 horse, who is Fierceness. Todd Pletcher. This horse, looking, like the 3-year-old champion probably, and if you can get this done, probably would be horse of the year here in America. So this horse is 3-1. Velasquez on the call again. This horse, Fierceness is the type of horse, if he gets things his own way and gets a pace either on the pace or right there. We'll see if the Del Mar track is carrying the speed horses. So 3-1 on Fierceness. And then also, I'm not going to forget here the 11 horse, Sierra Leone. I'm going to put this horse in. Chad Brown, Flavian Pratt. This horse is 12-1 today. Now, it's the kind of thing, throw them out at your own risk, because, we've talked about Sierra Leone a lot over this year. This horse is running some of the biggest races. It's gotten a lot of publicity. Was, the loser in the Derby by a nose in a roughly run race. Had come back, to end up being a favorite every time out after that in the Belmont, in the Jim Dandy, and in the Travers. Didn't get it done. Maybe this horse just didn't like Saratoga, but I think this is a special horse. This horse certainly has a lot of talent. Maybe he shows it here. We'll see if they cook it up early, which they might. You might see Sierra Leone running, and certainly Flavian Pratt knows what to do over at Santa Anita. So let's talk. Let's recap this first pick 5 here at Del Mar for the Breeders' Cup. So in this pick 4 that starts in the 4th race, I've got 6 that start in the 4th race. 6, 9, 10 with 1, 4, 9, 11, 12 with the 2 with 2, 3, 4, 5, 11 with 137911. And that pick 5 ticket cost $187. Now, a little bigger than usual, but you know what? It's the Breeders' Cup. Gotta go for it. Gotta try. And that's the first pick 5 there. So we're gonna go over with the next pick 5, which starts in the 8th race, being the Breeders' Cup Classic that we just talked about. So we're gonna put the same horses here to start the pick 5: 1, 3, 7, 9, 11. And let's move over to the next race. So the next race is the 9th race. It's the Breeders' Cup Filly and Mare Turf. There's 1 3/8 miles on the grass. And I've got 4 horses here that I'm going to put in. I'm going to put the 2 horses, Full Count Felicia, for Kevin Attard and Irad Ortiz Jr. Now, I'm putting this horse in for one reason and one reason only. The 2-hole here, the horse shows a ton of speed. Maybe they just found a new style with this girl. She's certainly a talented horse. She's run some nice races, but looks like she's run even better when they just sent her and put her out in the lead. She won big time her last 2 races in graded races. So we'll see if those are the instructions today. Sometimes we see at Del Mar the speed does hold over there, especially they got that quick run to the first turn. So 12-1 Full Count Felicia. It's the kind of horse, if I left off, I see her wire the field, and I'd wonder why I didn't have Irad Ortiz there. So I'm going to put the 2, Full Count Felicia. I'm going to also put the 3 horse, who was Cinderella's Dream. This is for Charlie Appleby and Godolphin, William Buick. Now, this horse originally came from Europe and then showed up here in the summertime, as these guys like to do, and running the a series of races there in New York, the graded races, 3-year-old filly races. So she ended up running in the Belmont Oaks and then also in the Saratoga Oaks, and that's a grade 1 and grade 2 respectively. And she ran really well, just a big late kick, which we see a lot of these Euros do, and they just do it really effectively. So certainly can see her finishing and storming down the lane at 4-1 with William Buick. He's done it before with her. He could do it again. Going to also put the 7 horse in. I'm going to throw out the program favorite, who is Warlike Goddess, for Bill Mott and Junior Alvarado. I'm going to take this horse out. I know she's a very accomplished horse, but looks like this horse really likes running in the Aqueduct turf course, and she doesn't show, a whole lot outside of that. So I'm going to take her out and hope that Warlike Goddess doesn't show up to win today. I am going to put the 7 horse, who is Content for Aidan O'Brien. Boy, how many times we said that. And DeTore was originally scheduled to ride, but I think it's Ryan Moore now. They made a jock switch, so Ryan Moore takes the call there, which certainly isn't, love seeing DeTore win, but Ryan Moore is certainly very, very capable, has won on this horse before. And as we've seen, it's very hard to throw out the Euros. This is what they do. They run turf racing, and they just seem to do it better than the American horses. So this horse is 6-1. Has run her share of nice races, has grade 1 wins in Europe. That should really translate into success here at Del Mar. Then finally, I'm going to put the 10 horse, who is Moira. This is another Canadian horse for Kevin Attard. Flavien Prat takes the call. This horse has been running in some of the better races here in North America. I really like the race that she ran last year in the Breeders' Cup Filly and Mare Turf at Santa Anita. She ended up coming 3rd, and I thought ran a really, really nice race. She followed that up with some nice efforts, in the grade 1 Diana, that ended up winning a grade 2 Beverly D, and then came 2nd to Full Count Felicia in the EP Taylor, which is a grade 1. Full Count Felicia just got way too far ahead, and it was hard to catch her. But, I think Moira is certainly capable, especially with Flavien Prat. Like I said before, I think Pratt's got some live ones today and could have a multi-race day. So we've got the 2, 3, 7, and 10. All right, let's move over to the next race of the day. Next race of the day being the 10th race. This is the Breeders' Cup Sprint. This is 6 furlong, and these are your dragsters there. Breeders' Cup Sprint, 6 furlongs on the dirt. And I've got 2 horses here that I like, and I'm going to put in here, and I feel should move this pick 5 along. I think there's going to be a lot of gas here, a lot of gas in this race. There's a ton of speed. A horse like Straight No Chaser coming from the 8-hole, I know is going to probably push hard to clear, but there's some very fast horses inside him, so we could see him really cooking it up. And I feel like it really does set up for 2 horses here, 1 and 2 horses. The 9 horse was Remake from Japan. We've seen this horse run around the world. And this horse is your late-running sprinter. Very exciting. If they cook it up early, you might see this guy storming home. He's 8-1. We'll see what kind of odds we get on Remake, but I feel like they're going to cook it up early, and I think there is going to be, maybe a little close here. So I've got the 9-horse Remake, and then I've got the 10-horse was Mulligan. This is for Rudolph Brissett and Pratt Rides. This horse is 7-2. Now you might say, okay, well this horse shows speed as well, and yeah, he does. This horse is on a 4-race win streak. This horse has been running at 7 furlongs, has shown speed, but in watching the film, I don't feel like this horse is really just I got to gun him out and go with him. I think the horse probably could stalk here. Pratt is one of the smartest tacticians on the track, so he'll know what to do. So I think the 9 and a 10 here should move this along, one of these two winning the Breeders' Cup Sprint. All right, now let's move over to the 11th race of the day. 11th race being the Breeders' Cup Mile on the grass. So this is always one of the exciting races in the Breeders' Cup, since the inception of the Breeders' Cup being the Breeders' Cup Mile. I've got 2 horses here that I'm going to put in. There's a couple scratches that I thought were noteworthy. The 1 horse is scratch, Ramatuel. That horse was 5-1 in the program. Certainly was a factor. That horse is out. Diego Velasquez, Aiden O'Brien horse, always a factor. Ryan Moore, that horse is out. I've got 2 horses here I'm going to put in. I've got a win bet here. I'm going to put the 6 horse, who is Notable Speech. Charlie Appleby, Godolphin. This horse has run some nice races there. It's a 3-year-old boy taking on his elders, but they do that in Europe and they do that in the mile races, and it works out. So William Buick with the call, 7-2 in the program. This horse, will be running late. Then I've got the 7 horse, Porta Fortuna. So Porta Fortuna, I like this horse. I'm going to put a win bet on this horse. This horse is 4-1 in the program. Marquardt takes the call. Now, I can't say I'm that familiar with Marquardt. I know he rides there in Europe. I don't follow the European racing, that closely. But, when it comes to Breeders' Cup, you got to. So Marquardt's been running at Del Mar the last couple of days. Probably got a good feeling of the track. This horse shows a similar profile to a monster that we saw yesterday with Lake Victoria. Ends up running in the same series of races that she ran this year. This horse was a 2-year-old last year. She ended up running in the Moy Glare, ran a nice race in the Chevrolet Park, ended up winning that race, and then followed that up with a win. With a second in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf Fillies last year at Santa Anita. So she got her taste of American racing. This year, she ended up winning a couple Grade 1s. I think this horse really could run. There's a 3-year-old filly taking on her elders, but as I mentioned, they do that a lot in Europe, so certainly no problem there. This horse is 4-1, is definitely worth a win bet for me. So I'm going to put the 6 and the 7 for pick 5 purposes. Now let's move over to the next race of the day. Next race of the day being the final race of the day. This is the 12th race, the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile. So mile on the dirt. And this has approximate post time about 7:25 here Central, so 5:25 there Pacific. And I've got 3 horses here in this race that I'm going to put in to try to cap off this pick 5. I've got the 1 horse who's Saudi Crown, Brad Cox, Florent Giroux. This horse is kind of lightly raced this year. They took this horse to the other side of the world, and he ran some decent races. And then they ended up giving this horse a bit of a break, and running 1 race over there in Elvis. Now I feel that Brad Cox, definitely a capable trainer, knows what he's doing, and probably just had that program for this horse where he was going to run this horse lightly after the early part of the year being over there in the Middle East. So, 5-1, Florent Giroux. Giroux has been riding this horse. I think the one hole is a great spot on a mile at Del Mar. Horse should have a nice trip. Definitely has the speed to get out if he wants to. Has some speed outside of him. But, we'll see what kind of trip Giroux works out. I'm also going to put the 6 horse. 6 horse being Seize de Gray for Dwayne Lucas. Now, yeah, what's a big racing day without Dwayne Lucas having his say? We've certainly seen that over the decades. So Lucas brings this horse in, Seize de Gray, 10-1. Torres takes the call as he's been on him. This horse has shown some nice races, winning the Preakness this year, winning the Pennsylvania Derby. This horse is a very, very capable horse. He shows up and runs nicely. He's 10-1. Certainly can see him at a mile here. I think that would be a great distance for him. 2 turns, no problem there. This horse will be a factor, Seize de Gray. And then finally, I'm going to put the 14. 14 being Skippy Longstocking. Skippy Longstocking today is ridden by Irad Ortiz. This is Safi Joseph. Now, this horse is another horse who's run, hasn't left the country, but certainly run a lot of places here in this United States and run very well. So, really just a matter of this horse getting out from that 14 hole and working himself out a trip. But this horse runs with a lot of energy. He runs up close, as he's done in his last several races. He shortens up to a mile here. He's been running at 1 1/8 at different tracks in Grade 1s. Running nice races. I think this horse runs with a lot of energy. Like I said, it's just a matter of Irad Ortiz working out a trip, which you know, I trust him, no doubt about that. He knows what he's doing. So Skippy Longstocking there. So that's the 1, 6, and 14 here in the last race of the day. All right, so let's recap here. The late pick 5, which starts in the 8th race. I've got the 1, 3, 7, 9, 11 with the 2, 3, 7, 10 with the 9 and 10 with the 6 and 7. And that's in the 11th race. I've got a win bet on the 7, Porta Fortuna. And then in the last race, I've got the 1, 6, and 14. Now that late pick 5 is a total of $120. So in total, there's 2 tickets, one for $187 and then one for $120. If you see fit, play as is. If you want to add or subtract, please do so. If you want to play the pick 3s within them, the pick 4s within them, you've got to do what fits you best. So as always, I wish you luck with whatever you decide to do. Let's get some great trips, because we need those great trips to get great results. Let's wish the folks over at Del Mar and the Breeders' Cup a great, safe day of racing today. And as always, I ask you to do me a favor, hit that subscribe button for me. Doesn't cost you anything. It just puts you on the feed. When new content comes up, you get served. Like, dislike, make comments. Certainly here to respond to everything that comes my way. I appreciate a discussion. So as always, I wish you the best of luck today. This is Breeders' Cup. This is the Super Bowl here in horse racing in the United States. And let's hope for a great day for Breeders' Cup Saturday at Del Mar, where the turf meets the surf. Thank you so much for watching.